What's going on, wrestling family? Welcome back to the channel. I got some bad news, man. Some bad news. Our girl, Dakota Kai, she can't be trusted, man. She's an op. She's an op of the group. She's a puppeteer, an evil mastermind behind everything that's starting to happen right now. Now, I originally thought this a while ago, but I felt like I didn't have enough evidence to justify creating a video for this. But this time around, after I saw what happened on SmackDown, I was like, oh yeah, that's right there. That's the cherry on top of everything I thought. Now, before I get into what I'm thinking, hit that subscribe button and let's get into this. So, if you didn't see what happened on SmackDown, if you're wondering why I'm thinking that she's evil and things like that, if you didn't see what happened on SmackDown, in the beginning of the episode, we had a brawl and an engagement of the old fisticuffs between Damage Ctrl and Bianca Belair's crew. Now, after Damage Ctrl got the beats like they were on Fruity Loops or Logic Pro, they were walking down the hallway, talking to each other like, yeah, I got punched in the stomach, I got punched in the eye, this is crazy, I can't believe we got jumped like this. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, we see Bayley pop into the screen. Now, this is the key for this evidence right here. Exhibit 8. So when they saw Bayley, they looked at her like, yo, where were you at? We were getting mollywopped out there. We were getting stumped out. They was putting the Omni-Man on us, and you weren't to be found. Where were you? And then Bayley was like, you didn't invite me. You guys didn't tell me that you needed my help. You didn't tell me to come out there. You didn't send an invite. If I would have known, I would have definitely been out there and throwing hands with my girls. Like, I wouldn't have did that. And then here is the important part. You see Kairi Sane, you see Asuka, you see Io Sky kind of debating amongst each other. Like, you didn't invite her. Who didn't invite her? Who didn't tell her and stuff like that. And here's the key to this evidence. You see Dakota Kai stopping everything. Now, let's pause right here. Now, the reason why this is a big thing as far as this evidence is, let's just take this as an example. If you got like, I don't know, like a brownie in the fridge or something like that, or one of your favorite cakes or favorite desserts, right? You come there, you find out that someone ate it. It's gone. Someone ate it up. Now, when you bring everybody around, all your roommates, and they start deliberating and talking about who was what, I was at work, I'm allergic to that, and we try to figure out, the more people start to discuss, the closer and closer you get to figure out who the perpetrator is. Now, if the perpetrator is amongst that circle, their job, in order for people not to find out, is to distract people. And sometimes they'll try to distract you with peace. 99.9% of the time, they'll try to distract with peace. Like, if that happened, they'll be like, oh, you know what? I'll go to Costco, I'll go to Sam's Club, buy some lemon meringue pie, some brownies. We can have a party. I just don't want anybody to hate each other. Let's just eat these brownies and let bygones be bygones. And when somebody does that, they're guilty, okay? They just trying to push the fire away. And that's kind of what Dakota Kai did here. She was like, it's in the past. You know what? Bayley, I think Kairi Sane would love to have your help tonight at the match that she had on SmackDown. Now, by saying that, that lets me know that she's guilty. And the reason why I feel like she's guilty is because I feel like that she has a personal vendetta against Bayley, and I think she made sure that the communication wasn't made clear to Bayley to make her look bad. So getting her cut out of the group will look like it makes all the logical sense in the world. It wouldn't make sense for them just to get her out of the group for no reason, but I think Dakota is like, let's make her look as bad as possible, outside of the fact that she's already losing. So she's already an easy target. Let's just make her worse and just kind of cut her out of the group and make it easier for everybody. Now, why would Dakota Kai have a personal vendetta against Bayley? I'm sure you guys are asking that. Why would she puppeteer this entire thing? I think we have a couple of things outside of what we just saw on SmackDown that supports that and some motivation for her. So let's get into the next example. So we saw the match that happened at Crown Jewel. And eventually, Kairi Sane made a surprising return. Not to the people at Crown Jewel. I don't think they knew who she was, but I was surprised. I was happy. You guys saw my video from last year, hoping that she would be the secret contestant at War Games for last year, but that didn't happen. But she's here this year. I'm happy. I'm happy. But anyway, we saw her return, and you look at Bayley's face. Now, Bayley, when she saw Kairi Sane return, she was shocked and afraid, right? She looked like those people who didn't file their taxes in 5 years and the IRS started knocking on her door and calling her phone. That's the look that she had on her face. But then when you look at Io Sky looked surprised, but she looked happy. Now, both of these guys, or both of these individuals, looked surprised. That's the thing they had in common. Why they were surprised was for two different reasons. But we don't know what Dakota Kai was thinking. We don't know how Dakota Kai feels about her return. You know, at the end of the day, for all we know, Dakota Kai made that call to help cause a friction, a splinter in the group, so that we can get Bayley out of the group. So hopefully that Bayley's paranoia would take over her, assuming that the Kairi Sane is trying to attack her and get revenge. And then they're like, you know what? You're too crazy. We got to get you out of the group. And maybe Kairi Sane could be a part of it. Who knows? But all I know is Dakota Kai is contributing to that. Now, again, what's the motivation behind Dakota Kai doing this entire thing? Well, there's a couple of reasons here. Dakota Kai has been a net positive for the group. Now, Bayley, on the other hand, has been a definite negative. She's always been losing, whether it's her solo matches, whether it's her matches with the group. Most of the time, she's losing. She's bringing L's to the group. She's a problem for the group. Now, with Dakota Kai, if you think about it, she's already won a tag team title match because she pinned Aaliyah in a tag team match, right? So that in itself is already a net positive. But let's run down the losses that happened with Damage Control. So one of the main important losses is they had a title match against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, where Liv and Raquel retained the tag team titles because Io Sky tried to give the tag titles to Bayley to use as a weapon. Now, at that time, Dakota Kai and Bayley were the tag team in the ring. And then Liv Morgan pushed Bayley into Io Sky, and then Bayley was rolled up for the pin. Then Liv and Raquel Rodriguez retained those titles. Then we had another match on Monday Night Raw between Io Sky and Dakota Kai versus Lita and Becky Lynch for those tag titles. Io and Dakota was champions at the time. Io Sky was pinned, and that wasn't because of Dakota. Now, granted, Trish Stratus was involved, so it wasn't really Io's fault. And then we had another situation that people want to bring up, okay? I just want to get ahead of this one because I know people are going to try to use this and say, oh, she lost an important match. They had this women's tag team championship match, or tournament, I'm sorry. And at the end, where they had a match between Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah versus Dakota Kai and Io Sky, Dakota was pinned, and they lost that match. And the thing is that Dakota Kai was never the legal contestant the entire time. So that was a botch on the referee's part and a botch on the WWE's part. So I don't include that in it. I think the biggest match that Dakota Kai has lost was 2022 Survivor Series War Game, which everybody was getting whipped in that match. But outside of that, Dakota Kai has been a net positive. Now, why is her being a net positive all important? It's because although she has been the most net positive out of the group, she has never gotten an opportunity at a solo title match. Now, I get that she was injured. I get that. But outside of the injury, she was never given the opportunity. Bayley had multiple matches over and over where she took L's left and right all day, every day, losing all the time. And even to the point where they were supposed to have this triple threat match, or they did have it, where the winner of that will face Bianca Belair at Backlash. And we all saw what happened there. And Bayley went backstage to talk to Adam Pearce. She was like, hey, before the draft, we need to keep us together. I'm going to let him know. And they need to put one of us in that title match, or whatever the case may be. And you had Dakota Kai and Io Sky waiting outside the office for Bayley after she had a long conversation with Adam Pearce. Now, Bayley, as she comes out, she says, yeah, everything went great. They're going to try to keep us together. But also at the same time, I get an opportunity at this triple threat match, and if I win, I get an opportunity to win that championship belt. Now, both ladies, Dakota Kai and Io Sky, kind of looked like, with their eyes rolling, they're like, you had multiple opportunities. It should be one of us. And Bayley ended up picking Io Sky to do it. Now, we saw that Io Sky lost that match at Backlash. Eventually, she will win that Money in the Bank contract, and then eventually cash that in to be the champion she is today. Now, the problem that Dakota Kai could have with this whole thing, as I said, she's been a net positive for the group. She's won championship belts. She's been a tag team champion with Io Sky, so she doesn't have an issue with Io Sky. But the thing is, Bayley didn't even think to even offer her an opportunity to go after the belt. She didn't even put her in mind. The first person she got in her mind was Io Sky. So Dakota Kai at that point can already feel betrayed, because remember when she had that interview with who was it? It was Byron Saxton. It was Damage Ctrl and Byron Saxton, and Dakota Kai said, Bayley pretty much brought us out of the darkness. She pretty much got us where we need to go. And she's been pretty loyal to Bayley. So she probably feels betrayed by that. Now, at that point, she could be like, well, I feel betrayed by her, but I don't see how the team could benefit from her. So I got to find a way to get her out of here. And eventually they're going to get her out of here. And I feel like down the line, Io Sky is going to find out what Dakota Kai has been doing and get her out of the group. And I feel like that at that point, either Dakota's going to get out of the group, or Dakota's going to find a way to get Io out of the group. But either way, it's going to make her turn into Crazy Coda when she was putting the beats on Tegan Knox in NXT at their War Games a couple of years ago. And I think that's what's going to happen. But anyway, this is all the evidence that I have. I don't know if it's enough to support what I'm saying. You guys let me know in the comment section. Do you think she's guilty, or do you think she's innocent? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute, peace. Have a good day.